What's up, y'all? This is Max Show MMA here. I am back again with another video. Hey, guys, listen. I'm going to post the link to my prediction video in the description. Click on that when you guys have time to listen to it. If you have not, I was right on the money with 2 out of 3 of these predictions. The only one I was wrong on was the Robert Whittaker and Hamza Chimaev one, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But I'm going to also post a few things I said from that video in this video so you guys can understand my mindset coming into this UFC 308 fight card. So let's dive right into it. Let's get started with Ankalaev versus Rakic. That fight pretty much went how I expected it to go. It ain't really too much to talk about. Rakic, he under delivers every time. He has great potential. I mean, he's massive for light heavyweight. I think he could actually go up to heavyweight. But Ankalaev is just different. He won this fight fair and square. It was pretty clear to me. He won 2-1, won 2 out of the 3 rounds. You could argue Rakic maybe won round 1, maybe round 2, but again, he lost 2 out of the 3 for sure, in my opinion. He won 2-1 clearly to me. The only round I possibly could have gave Rakic was the first round, maybe. But Rakic couldn't get out of the way of that left hand, that straight left hand from Ankalaev. He could not get away from it. I had Ankalaev winning. I feel like UFC has to make Ankalaev versus Pereira now. You have to make Pereira versus Ankalaev because people considering him the boogeyman. I mean, we got to make that fight now because there's no other contenders in the light heavyweight division now. He's the clear cut. He won fair and square. I predicted he would win by a clear decision, and that's exactly what he did. Let's move on. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. Look, I predicted that Robert Whittaker would TKO Khamzat in about the 4th round. I thought Robert Whittaker would be able to handle the pressure and weather the storm in the first round, maybe the first round and a half of Khamzat. Khamzat come out like a bat out of hell, and he comes out grappling any and every way. Robert Whittaker was doing well, but this is my theory on this. A guy like Khamzat Chimaev, when you know he has a pattern of fading in about a round and a half, maybe 2 rounds, sometimes when he's a great grappler like that, when he starts off fast, sometimes you got to accept the bottom position and just stall into the end of the round. You got these guys that constantly give up their back, risk giving up their back to try to get up. When you keep constantly doing that, at some point, the grappler, the wrestler, is going to find a way. And Robert Whittaker did a great job of weathering the storm as far as, dealing with the grappling, constantly trying to get back up, not letting Khamzat get his back too much, but he kept risking giving up his back trying to get up. And when you do that, eventually you're going to find yourself in a bad position. And that's exactly what happened. He gave up his back eventually. Khamzat threw a few elbows, threw a few punches, and sinked in the rear naked choke. Now, I don't know if this is accurate or not. I'm pretty sure it is. But a lot of media is posting this picture that I'm going to show you guys right now of Robert Whittaker, what his mouth looks like after the fight. Apparently, that's the reason why he tapped out so fast. Apparently, Khamzat, broke his jaw. I mean, if you see in the picture, his teeth in the front bottom is pretty much pushed back. It looks like once he got that choke hold in, that damaged his lower jaw even further, and that looks nasty. And I'm pretty sure that's accurate because he tapped pretty fast, which means he was in pretty good pain. Khamzat, what can I say? You got to give him the title shot. After this fight against Robert Whittaker, I mean, he dominated Whittaker. And I'm going to be honest, this fight here makes Usman looks even better. Usman, hell, he can move up to 185 at this point and be a force. Look what Khamzat did to Whittaker compared to what he couldn't do against Usman. Usman started to put it on Khamzat at a certain point. Robert couldn't even get that far. He couldn't even get that far because he kept giving up his back, got his jaw broke along the way, and ended up submitting right away to a rear naked choke. The only thing that has stopped Khamzat Chimaev from getting this fight against DDP is, as you all, as some of you may know, Khamzat Chimaev cannot get into the U.S. right now. He has close ties to a Russian that the USA does not take kindly to, and he cannot get into the USA because of that. So his visa keeps getting declined. That is the only way I can see DDP not fighting Sean Strickland next. But I think DDP is going to fight Sean Strickland next for the middleweight title only because Khamzat is limited and he can't get into the US right now. If the UFC can possibly get Khamzat a visa to the USA, only then will I see Khamzat being able able to get the title shot next. If not, it's probably more than likely, unfortunately, going to be Strickland. And Strickland don't deserve that shit at all. Hell, he ain't even fucking deserve the first one. But I ain't even gonna get into that. So congrats to Hamzat. Moving on, the main event. Let me let y'all hear something, man. This is the clip I'm going to show you, or this is audio rather. I'm going to show you from my prediction video that I said about Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. Let's take a listen. Could he pick him, pick him apart from range? Absolutely, that is possible. I don't see it though. And if he does do it, props to him. Because, again, he can win this fight. Max is no slouch. I think he proved a lot of people wrong, with his last victory against Gaethje. But make no mistake about it, Ilia Topuria ain't no Justin Gaethje. And I think wherever the fight goes, Ilia is better. I think a lot of people look at Max, oh, he has one of the toughest chins. No way Ilia Topuria can knock him out. Listen, how do we know he got a tough chin? Because he get hit on it too much. He gets hit too much. Ilia Topuria is not one of them guys you can let hit you. And I think it's only a matter of time before Ilia Topuria in this fight just cracks him and shut his lights out. Your chin can only hold up for so long. We all human, whether you're a fighter or not. And I got a third round KO for Ilia Topuria in this fight against Max. Right on the money, guys. I was right on the money. Listen, Max Holloway is a great fighter. But sometimes as an MMA fan, when a guy comes in and he's just that guy. He's just that guy. And he's clicking on all cylinders. Hey, y'all listen to me. I haven't got a feeling like this about Ilia Topuria since Israel Adesanya. Like when Israel Adesanya first came on the scene and he was coming in murking dudes. And when he first won the title, I'm like, dude, he's going to be champion for a long time. That's how I feel about Ilia Topuria. But the thing is about Ilia Topuria, he's even more well-rounded. He's a better mixed martial artist than Israel Adesanya. He can actually grapple. He can actually, he has great jiu-jitsu. He's actually a BJJ. He's a jiu-jitsu artist. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu, but he just had powerful hands and he has great boxing technique. And I don't see nobody beating this dude for a long time. And listen, y'all might think I'm crazy, but listen, if he wants to go up to fight Islam Makhachev, if that happens, I give him a great chance. I think he has a better chance than majority, not all, but majority of those lightweights. I think he'd be hell for Islam Makhachev. That's just my opinion, but that's another story for another day. Max Holloway, listen, Max Holloway had never been knocked out before. Max Holloway had never been finished before. But listen, I just felt like Ilia Topuria, he's different, man. He's different. And that's why I said what I said. Everybody raved about Max Holloway having a chin. We know he has a chin because he get cracked in it too much. And I even referenced one of the fights he had with Alexander Volkanovski, the third fight with Alexander Volkanovski. He got hit way too much. Alexander Volkanovski boxed him up, pieced him up the whole 5 rounds. And I said in that video, he ain't lasting 5 rounds getting pieced up like that with Alexander Volkanovski. It just ain't gonna happen. It's not. I feel like Alexander Volkanovski, he's a great fighter. He has great range management. He has quick feet. He uses angles, but he don't have the power. Now, imagine all of that with power. That's Ilia Topuria. We just even better boxing. And so that's why I picked Max Holloway to lose this fight. And Max Holloway was doing great. I kid you not. He was doing great. But in my opinion, he was down on the scorecard 2-0. And actually, reports just confirmed Max Holloway was down 2-0 on 2 out of the 3 scorecards. One of them, one judge had him up 1-1. One judge had it tied 1-1. 2 out of the 3 judges had Ilia Topuria up 2-0. And that was my thinking. Both rounds were very close, but I had Topuria up 2-0 going into the third. And there you had it. Ilia Topuria just started putting on the pressure even more, and he started landing shots. And that left hook from Ilia Topuria just sent Max to a whole nother realm. And he knocked him the fuck out as I predicted. Get the pillows ready. Max Holloway is done. Max Holloway is finished. Now, Max Holloway can still be a gamer in the 155 division. But when it comes to the featherweight, it's a new king there. And that's Ilia Topuria. And I don't see nobody at featherweight beat him. If Ilia Topuria gets beat, it'll be in the lightweight division at 155. It ain't going to be in the featherweight division. Now, listen to me. There is some things of concern about Ilia moving up to 155. He looked very small against Max. And Max is big for featherweight, don't get me wrong. But he looked small against Max, even though he packed a lot of punch. I'm just wondering how his power and everything would translate to 155 when you fight those bigger guys. I mean, I get Max is pretty tall, he 5'11", but what happened when you fight against those big dudes? You know, what if he end up fighting a Dustin Poirier or an Islam Makhachev? Islam Makhachev is bigger than Max. I mean, he's 5'10", he's not as tall, but he's an inch shorter. But he's, you know, as far as, you know, his size, as far as his weight, you know, he's pretty big. Like he's very big. So I want to know how that matches up against Ilia Topuria, even though I think Ilia Topuria would give Islam Makhachev problems. So it's gonna be interesting going forward to see how that works out. But Ilia Topuria, man, is a beast. You got Volkanovski trying to get a rematch. You got Volkanovski walking. He walked into the octagon after Ilia Topuria beat Max, and it's like, man, I don't want to see that. If I'm being honest, I don't want to see Topuria fight Volkanovski again. That's going to get ugly. It's probably going to be worse than the first fight. Instead of getting knocked out in the second, Volk, you probably get knocked out in the first. That, you know, the chin of Volk, in my opinion, is gone. You know, it all started with that head kick from Makhachev that he took on short notice. So I don't see him beating Ilia Topuria. I think that's a bad matchup for him. I think he's, you know, outgunned in every facet of the game. It don't matter where the fight goes. Ilia Topuria, same thing like I said against Max Holloway. He's just better. He's just better than these guys, man. So shouts out to Ilia Topuria. I'm excited to see what happens next. Like I said, possibly going to be that rematch against Volk. He going to chin Volk in the first round. I have no doubts about that. Again, those were my UFC 308 predictions, and this is my UFC 308 fight recap. UFC 308 was a banger. UFC 308 was a banger. So I'm happy we got this card. Next up is the Bones and Stipe Miocic card. I don't know how to feel about that, but we'll see. So I'm going to keep you guys updated. I'll be dropping new content soon. I'm going to try to stay consistent with this thing. We're going to get the ball rolling for this channel. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the ones who subscribe. Keep subscribing, people. Everybody that's watching, like it if you can. More videos coming soon. This is Max Show MMA here. I'm out. See you soon. Peace.